One big piece of advice, and I think I'm actually going to link into the chat. Let me see. My talk that's 17 minutes long, and if anyone's interested, please go take a look at it. But it's basically my one piece of advice is focus. That's something we did for our design firm and for Rotten Tomatoes, but I didn't do in my later companies. Is the less you do in the beginning, the better chance you can do it well, right? Facebook, for example, was only in Harvard. Amazon only sold books until they went IPO, only selling books. And Google was only search, like very simple search. And now you look at them, they're trillion-dollar companies doing like everything under the sun, but they weren't in the beginning. And with Rotten Tomatoes, we were just the tomato meter only in the movies category, right? Initially only targeting hardcore movie buffs to start with. And anyone who, all the successful companies I can think of always started off very focused in the beginning. That's one of the main reasons why they were able to be successful, right? I don't mention this in my talk, but look at every fast food franchise you can think of. They all do one thing. They all sell one type of food, right? And initially, I'm sure when they started, they probably all started as one restaurant, right? And so that is the biggest thing. I think even, I'm not sure if people here are filmmakers or whatever, but even then I would say, think about that same thing. Like if you're writing a story, if you don't have resources, for example, don't make a really complex story that has like tons of special effects and is across 3 continents of shooting. Like that's going to be an expensive thing, right? Like I would definitely think about, for example, like how do you keep it to like one location, very few actors. If you want to make it money, like keep it ultra low budget and make it like genre focused in the beginning, you know, kind of like a Blumhouse type of thing, right? Like that kind of stuff. Like look at Saw, for example. I don't really watch a lot of horror movies, but I did see that one. It's like 2 guys in one room, you know, for like most of the movie. Like you can't get cheaper than that. And even the people they had ones that were like, they were famous like 10, 20 years before they did Saw, but they weren't even that famous at that point. So they were, I think, relatively cheap. I think the movie cost like $1 million and made over 100 million. And then the Saw franchise, I think it did over $1 billion in box office, right? Like that's the kind of stuff you want to think about. Like a thing you can do by cutting down your scope so much that you can do it really well, versus when you try and do too much, you're spread thin and you're lucky to even launch anything.